Hello, I'm Monica Bankston, Head of Diversity, Inclusion, and Belonging at Pure Storage. I've been with Pure a little over 3 months now and wanted to highlight some of the standout leadership around inclusion that I've learned about. I'm joined here today by Bill Cerreta, a dynamic leader who's been with Pure for over 7 years. Bill leads our platform business unit. So, Bill, I'm excited to welcome you today and learn more about your approach to diversifying your team. When did the journey start for you and what were the first steps?
Yeah, thanks, Monica. I think it started about 5 years ago for us. We became aware that the diversity numbers weren't good, and we wanted to have a more diverse workforce, but we weren't really making good strides. When I went in front of the group and talked to the team about how it was important to me personally, and I didn't shy away from talking about it, and I made it a goal for the team, then all of a sudden things started happening right off the bat. It's, you don't want to avoid the conversation. It's much better to be very open and forward about it.
Right.
Our first step really was to focus on early in career, to bring in people who were just coming out of college, and that was a fast way for us to get started.
Awesome, awesome. So as your team started to make progress, how did the plans change?
Well, we quickly shifted toward retention, because one of the things that I think a lot of people in Silicon Valley think, hey, I want to improve diversity, I'll hire some different people into the group.
Right.
And then you find out that that's really, really not going to be enough. That's just the very first step. And it's really about the environment. Can you create an environment where there's a community, where people don't feel like they're on an island? And then as they start to move forward in their career, do they have opportunities? Can they have a career progression? Do they see new and interesting work in front of them? Can you help to develop leaders? If you can start to get all those things right, then you really can make a lot of headway.
Well, we all know 2020 was an unprecedented year, and there's an increased emphasis on diversity across industries in this country, in America specifically. How has 2020 changed things for you?
Well, 2020 has changed a lot of things, but I really think there are two things that stand out to me in the diversity journey that we're on. First of all, diversity isn't just about female employees. It's not just about hiring women, right? And I think in Silicon Valley, that's something that's really pretty far off right now. Mm-hmm. And we really need to focus on underrepresented minorities. And I think that the challenges there are great. It's not, may not be as simple a journey to bring more women in as bringing in more women. The underrepresented minorities, it might be trickier. The second thing that's happened in 2020 that, a lot of people I think need to think about is that the drop-off of women in the workforce has been pronounced. It's one of the greatest drop-offs we've ever seen in 1 year. And I think we need solutions. We need to face that too.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I read a statistic that's 2.5% million women have dropped out of the workforce in 2020 due to the circumstances of the pandemic and other things that are happening in our culture and our environment. So it's pretty outstanding.
It's startling. It's something we have to think about.
Yeah. So you've experienced, what it's like managing homogenous teams as well as diverse teams here. What are your observations?
When you bring in a more diverse workforce, there's a diversity of ideas. And I think everyone talks about that. And it's very high value. So the company can, you get new perspectives and so on. But for me, it was also about behaviors. I think that when you have a culture that's very, very heavily male dominated and very homogenous, you start to get dynamics in meetings, groupthink that it's not just about limiting the number of ideas, but it's about behaviors, how dynamic the group is. And when you get a more diverse population, you really get a lot of different perspectives, not just on innovation, but also on how things should be done.
So at Pure, I know we value leaders teaching leaders. So in that spirit, what advice or lessons learned do you have to share with R&D leaders who want more diversity on their teams, but just don't know how to get there?
I think the first step is you got to be all in. If you want to just hit a number or, you've been given a goal, I don't think you're going to get very far, honestly. Yeah. I think you have to be committed and you have to get educated. Because I know for me, that was the case. Education is a big part of it.
I agree. Education is the key. Well, thank you, Bill, for joining me today. I certainly appreciate the time you've taken to share your thoughts on diversity, inclusion, and belonging at Pure. And I, for one, am looking forward to all the great we're going to do together to make Pure a great place to work for diverse talent globally. So thanks again.
All right. Thank you, Monica.